All right, family. So I really want to make today's training like very simplified. Like yesterday's training, if you guys were actually on the training or had a chance to go back and watch the recording, I know I did. I know I got a few texts from people. Saying that training was very, very, very helpful. So if you actually were on the training yesterday with the HFX checklist, and you watched it, you made some money, you learned something, just drop a me in the chat, so I can see, because it was just a reminder that sometimes it's really, really, really important to get back to the basics. So essentially, this is going to be another basics training, but a little bit more in depth. So we're of course going to start with GoLiberty.im, because this is the scanner that everybody has access to once you sign up for IM Academy with HFX. So we're going to log in. And this scanner is going to give you access to 4 different strategies. Now, when you first log in, this may seem intimidating because you don't really know what's going on. You see stuff on the right side of the screen, stuff on the left side of the screen, stuff in the middle of the screen. But all of this stuff is really, it is relevant to the trade, but it's not what you really need to be paying attention to. Right? So for people who are new and this is your first time looking at a scanner, or you've been here for less than a week, maybe 2 weeks, everything on the screen can help you, but you don't need everything. Just how, think about it like a car, right? Everything in your car is there for a reason. The dashboard, the numbers, the signs and symbols, but I honestly don't know what most of that stuff mean. But I know if I put my key in the ignition, if I press the start, if I put my seatbelt on, if I push this button, it's going to adjust my mirrors. This can adjust my heat, right? So I know what's going on. I know how to drive, but I don't know every single thing in the car. But I don't have to know everything in the car in order to drive, right? If that makes sense, y'all, just drop some ones in the chat. If that makes sense, right? You don't have to know every single thing that's going on to be able to do what you got to do. So let's see if this lets me log in. We just see I was automatically logged out. And sometimes it says you're already logged in, wait 5 minutes. All right, awesome. So pretty much today, I want you guys to, because I know when we get on these calls, we want to write down every single word that the educator says or every single word that the chairman says. But I really just want you guys to listen. I'm actually going to highlight what I think are the most important things that you should do. Um, and it's simply because it's really the way I think. And I'm really not saying everybody has to think like me, but I also have like my background, like my educational background is in public relations, where we're taught to filter out everything that's not relevant to the solution that we're trying to get right now. Right. So first and foremost, you guys said pickpocket. So first and foremost, when you log in, you're going to see these 3 words at the top of your screen, but we want to click on strategies. I mean, of course, we're going to select pickpocket because this is the strategy that you guys want to focus on. Right. So the first relevant thing on the screen, you guys can write this down, right? Relevant things on the screen for HFX trading. The first thing is your strategies tab, because you have to select which strategy you're going to use. Scanners is not really relevant right now. It literally pulls up all the scanners. Just how we can come on here and find entry points on Liberty, right? And we love Liberty, right? We love Liberty. All of these things are also scanners that you can find and make money on. So when you click scanners, this is what pulls it up. So you don't click scanners to get the strategies. You click strategies, right? Because the Liberty scanner is a scanner and a strategy is a strategy, right? The next relevant thing that you're going to see is going to be on the second level, and it's going to be your currency pairs, your time frame, and then for the case of today's training, we're also going to use the candles tab, right? So we're going to use the currency, the time frame, and the candles tab. Everything else, don't worry about compare, indicators, back, or this, right? So what I've seen a lot of people do is actually come here and click right here to start changing the currency pair. And you can do that, or you can literally click anywhere on the screen, and you can also pull up the currency pairs that way as well. Now, before we do all this in vain, of course, we are going to check the news, right? And if you guys were on the call yesterday, the HFX trading checklist, the very first step that you want to do is check the news, because you need to know what's going on. You don't really just want to like wake up and start pressing stuff. You want to have some type of insight into what you're about to do when you get into the market. So step 1 is to check the news. Let's check the time. It's 10:30. And we can see at 10:30 a.m. for the United States dollar, there was an orange folder. And we don't really have to read the news as much as we have to know what these colors mean. right? So red means we want to slow down, right? Or stop completely. If we're thinking about it like a stoplight, red means stop. You don't want to trade that pair, especially as a new trader. Orange means that you want to slow down or lower your risk. That's what I'll say, right? So slow down. And yellow or no folder is really the best thing to see. So if I see at 10:30 a.m., the only news I see is an orange folder for USD. All of the rest of the currency pairs don't have a folder, that's a good sign. It means nothing came out that's crazy that's going to really affect how the currency is moving. So the next thing is we want to check our payouts because we want to make sure that we're not doing this in vain. And when we're trading, we want to make sure that that the payout is at least, somebody tell me how much the payout should be for a HFX trade. Right? It shouldn't be less than 70%. 70 or higher, 70 or higher, exactly. So out of all these pairs today, everybody can just go to EU. That's my favorite currency pair. You don't have to trade Euro USD. You can trade any of these currency pairs at any time of the day. I just like Euro USD because it tends to be pretty consistent, right? It tends to be pretty consistent, but since the USD does have an orange folder, I'm just going to maybe lower my risk. If my risk is usually $10, let me maybe just change it to 5, right? Just lower your risk because this is going to be moving a little bit crazy. So we have our news, step 1. We have our payout, 79%, right? And once you guys are here with me, just drop EU in the chat. Whenever I ask you guys to change a currency pair, just drop it in the chat so I can know that you're caught up. And now we're also going to check the currency strength. Now, this may seem like a lot of steps, but it literally takes you less than 5 minutes once you get in the habit of doing this. So we're doing Euro USD. It looks like the currencies are moving at equal strengths. So it's going to be equally buying and selling, right? Whenever you see that the currencies have equal bars, it just means that the market is consolidating. It's not really going up. It's not really going down. It's kind of moving sideways. So I'm going to show you guys the chart, and I'm going to give you another analogy, but think about it like this. If the market is going up, think about a roller coaster going up. You'll see mainly blue candles, up, up, up. If the market is going down, think about the roller coaster dropping. You'll see red candles. And when the market is consolidating, think about the roller coaster coming back into the port to actually start a new trip. I don't know what that would be called. To start a new round. I don't know what that would be called. So we're going to go to Euro USD. Euro USD. And we're going to look at this on the 5-minute time frame, right? So the next relevant thing, we have the currency pair, which we can select here. We can type on the screen, and we also have our time, right? This is very relevant to your entire trade because how you analyze the chart is going to determine, well, how you trade is going to determine how you analyze. So if we're doing 1-minute trades, we don't really need to be looking back an hour in the past because that's just too far back to figure out what the market is going to do right now, right? So the time that you select is basically telling you how often the market is scared and how often a new update is going to come. So I used to have this app. It's called the Transit app, and pretty much the Transit app would tell me all of the buses that were coming. So it would say in the next 5 minutes, in the next 10 minutes, in the next 25 minutes. So think about this as like the posting schedule, right? This is the posting schedule for the scanner. So if we had on 5 minutes, that means every 5 minutes we should expect a new candle to generate, right? Because all the candles are literally just something that's representing price and what price was doing within that 5 minutes, right? So this was 5 minutes, 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 this was 5 minutes. I can try to add subtitles, but I really don't know if I can. I don't know if I have that feature to do that, but let me try for like 10 seconds. 1 second. I think I have to add something like a plugin or something. Disable. 1 second. 1 second, y'all. I'm gonna try to turn on these subtitles, but I don't think. Yeah, because it usually will show directly on my panel, but it's not showing. So I'm gonna have to figure that out after. Let me see. Let's see. Oh, accessibility. I'm assuming. I don't know. I don't see the option to turn on closed caption, but I'll do it next time. I'll do it next time. So I'm sorry about that. And where we at with it? Okay, good. So I'm sorry, Malia, but I can't add subtitles right now. But next time I'll try to figure it out. The time frame is telling you how often the market was scanned, right? How often the market was scanned. So just think about it like a posting schedule. If it's on 5 minutes, that means that every 5 minutes you're going to see a new candle that's going to be generating. And typically, if the time has not expired for that candle, then price is still doing the same thing, right? So we know that in the last 5 minutes, this is the highest that price went. This is the lowest that price went. And the 5 minutes previous to that, this was the highest that price went. This was the lowest that price went. And the 5 minutes before that, like each candle is literally tracking price, and it has a high, it has a low, it has an opening point, and it has a closing point. So the candles may just look like red and blue rectangles, but they're actually telling you a lot of stuff about the price, right? So let's actually look at the trend so we can decipher what is it trying to do. What is it trying to do? So with Pickpocket, you're always going to know which your entry points should be because they're going to give it to you on these lines. You're going to see these thin black lines, right? So the top line, just write this down, family, because this is the next relevant thing on your chart. So far, we only have 2 relevant things on the chart. If any of this stuff was confusing you, it's not even relevant. So we have our strategy, our currency, and our time frame, right? So once you guys understand those 3 things, right, because it's so simple so far, just drop easy in the chat, right? You can drop the letter E and the letter Z, right? So we can know. It's not as bad as I thought. It's not as bad as I thought because I'm not over here being a whole mathematician when I'm looking at this. I'm looking at such a small amount of things that is actually crazy. And my hope is that when you finish this session, you'll also be like, this is crazy. Like, I'm so sad that I thought this was hard or that this was stressing me out. It's like when you break up with somebody and you like, really, like, you was stressing me out. That's kind of how I feel about the market once it really made sense. So I'm gonna just draw out the roller coaster analogy for everybody so that you guys can see what I mean by if the roller coaster is going up, the market is buying. If the roller coaster is going down, the market is dropping. Thank you, Tiaja. And if the candles are going sideways, right, then we know that the roller coaster is coming back into the port after it's done all its rah-rah stuff, right? So again, the top line is where whenever you see the candles hit this line, right, no matter where it's at, you're going to want to start to focus on the sell. Whenever you see the candle hit this bottom line, right, you're going to want to focus on the buy. But let's look at this. So when we're looking at a buying trend, and if we know we're going to be going for buys, we literally would see something like this, right? Now, you want to look at the chart overall, but you don't have to wreck your brain. Like, we can just look at this and we don't have to say, well, I don't know if I should buy or sell because it was buying 20 minutes ago. It's like, no, I'm just demonstrating an example right now. We can see that from this candle, right, all the way up, right? All the way up. We're just going to keep going up to right there. Now, imagine this is the roller coaster, right? The roller coaster is going up. The roller coaster is going up. The roller coaster is going up, right? It's going up. It's going up. And it actually continued to climb until it got all the way here. And then what happens, y'all, once the roller coaster gets to the top? When the roller coaster gets to the top of the peak, what is it going to do, y'all? If you've ever been on a roller coaster before, or you've ever seen a roller coaster before, once it goes all the way up, what is it going to do? Somebody tell me. It's like 80 people here, right? Right? It's going to go down. It's going to go down. So look what happened, family. Once the roller coaster hit our resistance, which is this straight black line I just told y'all about, once it finished going up and up and up, what happened? It actually dropped down, right? It actually dropped down, right? So whenever you see a series of blue candles, just think, all right, the ride is going up. Whenever you see a series of red candles, think the ride is going down. And whenever you see candles that look like this, and I'm just highlight these few candles right here, right? It's just telling you that it's no incline or decline. The market actually is indecisive, right? If that makes sense, or you guys are following along so far, just drop a MS in the chat, right? If that makes sense, just drop a MS in the chat, because you should be able to recognize these patterns just by looking at them before you even do anything else. So if we know, right? Ooh, sorry, y'all. Right, so if we know, let's just see what's about to happen, right? Let's just see what's about to happen. And you guys are so smart, you're following along, so we already know what's going on, right? So we see the roller coaster, it went up a little bit, we had a little bit of an incline, right? Roller coaster hit a resistance. Sorry, I don't know why this line acting crazy. The roller coaster hit a resistance, right? And then the roller coaster started to drop, right? Then the roller coaster, we're literally on the ride right now. The roller coaster went up, right? The roller coaster hit the resistance, and then what happened, y'all? The roller coaster dropped. So since we are looking at this in real time, what are we currently looking for? Should we be looking for a buy or sell based on where the ride is at, right? Should we be looking at a buy or sell based on where the ride is at? Somebody let me know. All right. Yep, we should be looking for a sell. We should be looking for a sell. Exactly. We should be looking for a sell. Then we're going to be looking for a sell because the roller coaster is in a downward motion, right? It's in a downward motion, meaning it's going to continue to drop. It's going to continue to drop, right? Now, when it comes to finding an entry point, first you need to determine if the ride is on a ascent, if the ride is on a descent, or if the ride is actually moving sideways. So we clearly see that the ride is dropping. Like we can just see it. If it's a blue candle, it's most likely going up. If it's a red candle, it's most likely going down. If it's not going up and if it's not going up and down, it's literally consolidating. We know we should be focused on a sell right now. Let me see this question. Since it hit the resistance already and started going down, what we want to wait for the buy? I mean, I'll get to that as well. But what do we want to focus on right now? And now I'm literally telling you guys the only things that are relevant so that you don't get confused. So if I didn't mention it, it's probably not relevant right now. It's probably not relevant right now. So let's just recap the only things that we should be looking at on the chart right now. So let's just drop them in the chat. What are the only things we should be paying attention to up until this point? Nope. Up until this point, family, what your currency, time frames, candles. Yes, exactly. Exactly. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Coco. Thank you. Yep. Strategy, time, and the line at the top. Exactly. That's the only thing that matters right now. And I'm literally trying to be as direct and clear as possible so nobody's confused. Like literally, if it's not said, it's probably not important. So we have the strategy. We're working with Pickpocket. We have the currency. We're working with Euro USD. And we have the time frame. We're working with 5 minutes. So everybody should be there now. So let me just come back. Right. So now we see, okay, the ride was going down, the ride was going up, the ride was coming down. Now it looks like it actually wants to go back up again, right? So the first thing that you need to figure out is whether the market is going to be going up or whether the market is going to be going down. And that's going to be based off of the color of the current candle, right? That's going to be based off the color of the current candle. So we see this blue candle forming. And again, we're going to put our horizontal lines. And that analogy really was just to help y'all look at the market so you can determine essentially like what's going to happen next. You want to know what's going to happen next. So since we know Euro USD based on our currency strength, let's come back. Based on our currency strength. 1 second, y'all. All right, since we know the Euro USD is consolidating and we have an equal opportunity to buy or sell, since the candle is currently blue, right? We know that we can be focused on the buy if the market drops down to this point, right? And we know that that's the point for the entry because that's where this thin black line is, right? Wherever this thin black line is at the top or the bottom, you automatically want to put horizontal lines there so that you can at least have 1 or 2 entry points, right? So we can see that the market went up, And then this is where it started to sell, right? It went a little bit past, but it didn't get too far past the area. Once it hit this line, it started to sell. And once it hit this line, we had a little bit of resistance, right? But then once it hit this line, it started to buy. So we know next time the market hits this place, which is about 064, right? We should be able to get in for a buy, right? If that makes sense, y'all, drop make sense, right? Because I'm gonna move on so that we're still working on getting our entry point. We're still working on getting our entry point. Right? So this is on a 5-minute time frame. It means the market is posting every 5 minutes, telling us what the market did in the last 5 minutes. So now if you want an even better entry point, you would just switch the time frame to the 1 minute because that's going to make it even smaller. Right? And you could think about the time frames like this, right? The smaller the time frame, essentially the better chance you have at sniping your entry, if that makes sense. Like, think about it like, I'm trying to think of analogies because it's just you got to explain it in different ways for different people. But if you was at a crime scene or something and you wanted to know, like, okay, what happened, the thing that happened the most recent is going to be the most relevant. The thing that happened the most recent is going to be the most relevant, right? So if the market was scanned in the last 1 minute versus the last 5 minutes, right? That means that it's going to be a tighter, more accurate read, right? Like, literally, like, think about if this was a crime scene. If you have information from 1 minute ago, that's going to be a lot more relevant than information from 5 minutes ago, 15 minutes ago, an hour ago, because that's not helping you solve the case any quicker, right? If that makes sense, y'all, drop a 1 in the chat, right? So the reason why we look at it on the 5 minutes is because we want to know, right? We want to know what happened in the last 5 minutes. We want to know. But when it comes to finding our entry point, we need to know what happened in the last 1 minute. We need to know, right? Because that's even closer to where we're trying to be, right? And yeah, this is Pickpocket 2.0. So we're going to do the same thing. So let's just back up in case I lost anybody. So we're going to take our candles. We're going to take our horizontal lines. We're going to put one at the bottom where the thin black line is, right? We see the thin black line right there. We're going to put a horizontal line right there. And then we're going to put a horizontal line at the top. And this is on the 5 minute because this is telling us, it's creating a zone for us as to where price has gone in that time frame, right? Now we're just going to do the same thing, right, on the 1 minute. We're going to do the same exact thing on the 1 minute. We're going to get horizontal lines. And we're going to put one, well, we're going to put it all the way up there. That's pretty high. We're going to put it up there for the sell, but that's where the line is at. And then we're going to put another one down here, right? So all I did so far, y'all, was put horizontal lines on my skinny black line, right, on the 5 minute time frame and on the 1 minute time frame, right? I didn't do anything crazy yet. I just put 4 horizontal lines on my chart, 2 on the 5 minute, 2 on the 1 minute, right? That's it. So now the next thing we're going to do, family, this is not to confuse you. It's the simplest, easiest thing. The next thing you do, the third thing you do, you want to put a horizontal line at the top of the current candle and at the bottom of the current candle, right? Because you saw how high price went and you saw how low price went, but you want to know, you only want to focus on this one candle. You only want to focus on this one candle. You only want to focus on the one candle because you only need to know what price did in the last 1 minute to be able to find the best entry point, right? So we have our lines on the 5 minute, which is a wider zone. It's relevant information, but it's not as relevant as the 1 minute, right? And then it's not as relevant as to what's actually happening right now, right? So we have a few entry points, but let's focus on the smallest, tightest entry since we're trading on the 1 minute time frame, right? So it looks like we have, well, it shot right past that, but it looks like we have 195, right? 195 or higher for a sell. And if the market continues to go up, it's actually going to try to climb to 220, right? So for this first entry point, just because we're tracking the price on such a small time frame, we're going to see if the price is going to stay in this zone, right? Like it did for the last minute, or we're going to wait until it pushes to the next level, which we know that it could do because that's where it went in the last 5 minutes, right? So we're going to look for 195 or higher for a sell on Euro USD. So for the 195, whenever you're using Pickpocket or if you're using the Liberty scanner, whatever entry point you get over here, you just want to add about 5 points. So I just added about 5 points to 187, right? You can use 193, 194, 195. I just always round to the nearest 0 or the nearest 5. Personally, I just round up. But you always want to add 5 points to your thing because pocket option has a lag. And how do I know it may push up to 220 is because this pink line that I put right here, it says 220, and it's on the black line, which is the resistance line, telling me where the market is going to sell. So we're going to go with 195 or higher for a sell. And we're going to do the same thing down here. And we're going to go with 155 or lower for a buy. If and when you guys get into the trade, let me know what your entry point is. Right? Because you're literally, the only thing you're doing is adding horizontal lines to your chart. The only thing you're literally doing is adding horizontal lines to your chart. And whichever the number says that's attached to that horizontal line, that is your entry point. If you're going for a sell, it's going to be that number or higher. If you're going for a buy, it's going to be the bottom number or lower. Right? So if you guys get into the sell at 195, drop that in the chat. If you guys get in for the buy at 155, drop that in the chat. So currently we can see the market is at 182, right? So we're either going to wait for it to push up or we're going to wait for it to push down. But we know that the market has an equal chance at going both ways because that's what the currency strength meter told us, right? So we're just going to wait for those entry points, 195 and 155. But if anybody has a question about anything I just went over, just drop it in the chat. Just drop it in the chat and I will answer that now. Leandra, you can choose whichever time frame you feel comfortable trading on. I just prefer 1 minute because that's how I trained myself to learn. Most educators use 3 minutes, and I've seen some people use 15 minutes. So the best way to determine what's the best thing for you, the best way to determine what's for you is to practice. You have to come in here and practice with a few different time frames. Because I have somebody who prefers to trade on 15 minutes. That's just what she wants to do. That's where she makes most of her money. And hey, if it works, right? Because it's still better than doing anything that you don't want to do for an hour. So you can do 1 minute, 3 minutes, 5 minutes, 15 minutes. And whichever time frame you want to trade on, just make sure you're doing your analysis in an appropriate time frame as well. Like just literally think about it as a crime scene. If I want to know what happened in the last hour, I should probably be checking what happened in the last 30 minutes, in the last 15 minutes. If I want to know what happened in the last 15 minutes, I should be probably checking what happened in the last 30 minutes. If I want to know what happened in the last 1 minute, I should probably check what happened in the last 5 minutes, right? So it depends on which time frame you're going to feel comfortable trading on. Yeah, if it breaks past your support or resistance, you do want to look for the next entry point, and that's part of the reason why you set up your support and resistance on different time frames in the first place, because you want to know, all right, it's lower than 155, because you want to know where the market is going to go, right? You want to know where the market is going to go, right? If you're in at 153, that's awesome. If you guys took the buy, drop your entry point. I got in at 153. We know this market is going to drop back down a lot. We know that we have an equal opportunity to buy and to sell. We know that it's a lot of resistance on this pair, just as much as it is support. So we're just going to see what happens. I see a lot of people in at 153. That's my entry as well. And we should all have about, all right, it's back at 153. Let's see what happens. Again, this market definitely has equal opportunities to buy or sell. So I would not be surprised if this trade was lost. I wouldn't be surprised if this trade was won, because we know it's literally a 50-50 chance to everything. I mean, then somebody tell me, what did we not do, right? It's 2 steps that we missed before getting into this trade. Somebody tell me what they were and why we're going to lose, right? Somebody tell me. Yep, we did not check the currency strength and the buyers are not in control. So doesn't it make sense? Doesn't it make sense, family, as to why we did not win the trade? Right? If you're using your HFX checklist, doesn't it make sense as to why you have not taken the trade? Right? All right, so Net said yes. Right? We don't even have buyers in control of the market right now, family. It's clearly 91% sellers. It's 91% sellers. So let's just see if we go, as we can see, if we going for a buy, we're most likely to get spiked out because it's 91% sellers and 9% buyers. So going for a buy is like playing tug of war with the losing team, literally. There is on Pocketoption, I'm not sure about the other brokers. If you click these 3 dots right here, you can turn on this feature called Market Watch. And the Market Watch will have this bar for you right here. Yours might look a little different if it's at the bottom, right? But if it's at the top, then it'll look like this, right? You're welcome. All right, so some people said they cleared that, right? If you waited for everything to align or you made sure that you had enough confirmations, then you definitely would be in profit or you would have cleared the trade, right? Because remember, trading checklist, this is from yesterday. Check the news, pick your payout, check the currency strength, find your entry. Check the confirmations, check the market watch, check your time, right? So let's slow down, right? If you took a lesson and you know why you took a lesson, just drop yes in the chat, right? All right, okay. If you took a lesson and you know why you took a lesson, that's good, right? So we're gonna take this from the top. We're gonna do this one more time, all the steps from the beginning, and then we're going to wrap it up for the day. Oops. So we're still using Euro USD, right? We're only paying attention to the currency pair, the time frame. I'm gonna put this on 5 minutes, right? So the first thing that I am going to do, right? I'm gonna set up my horizontal lines on my 5 minute, right? And all I'm doing is I'm gonna post this horizontal line at the top where this thin black line is. I'm gonna place the horizontal line at the bottom where this thin black line is. Literally, family, is right there. This thin black line. All I'm doing is place a line right on top of it because this line is going to give me my entry point, right? So it says 145 or lower for a buy, right? So you're just going to add 5 points, right? But before we do that, right, we don't have to rush. We want to do the same thing on the 1 minute, right? All we did was add 2 lines. That's all we did, right? So now we're going to take our horizontal line. We're going to use a different color so that we don't get confused. And we're going to do the same exact thing. So I'm going to put, 1 second, y'all. 1 second. I just want to make this line black so y'all don't get confused. Because these are my 5 minute lines. So now I'm going to take some more lines and I'm going to make them my 1 minute time frame. So I'm going to put it right here. All I'm doing is putting a horizontal line on the black line, right? And I'm going to put another one right there, right? So I have my 5 minute entries tracking price in the last 5 minutes. I have my 1 minute entries tracking price in the last 1 minute. And then I'm going to have my actual candle entry points, right? And this is just giving me a few different places as to where the market could go, would go, might go, But your whole focus, like basically when you're putting these lines on the chart, you're literally just taking notes. You're literally just taking notes. And then you're going to figure out which notes are relevant, right? So in this case, it looks like if the market gets to, we see 161, but we're going to add 5 points. If the market gets to 166 or higher, we could probably sell. And if the market gets to, all right, it's going past 166. So now we know it's going to the next level, which is 185. So if the market gets to 185 or higher, we can sell. And if the market gets to 160 or lower, we can buy. So 160 or lower, buy. 185 or higher, sell. So we have those confirmations. Now we want to come over here and we want to see, is our market watch in control? Is it more in control for the buyers or the sellers, family? Right? Do we have more buyers in control or more sellers? And let me just refresh this to make sure it's not frozen. So I refreshed my page, y'all. So do we have more buyers or sellers? All right, so now we have more buyers. So we know we want to focus on the buy, right? We know we want to focus on the buy because that's what's actually aligning. So let's wait. We see that it's moving to our next area of support, which is good because we still doing our analysis, right? We have more sellers now. We have 52 seconds left in the trade. So now we're just gonna wait. And we're gonna take it from the top. All right, blue candle. The blue candle touched 138. All of our lines are already there. So now all we have to do is track the price as it's moving. So now we have a blue candle, which is saying we should focus on the buy. We have the entry price around 140 or lower, right? We have more buyers in control and we have enough time, right? So if we get into this trade, once it hits 140 or lower, we should have a higher chance at clearing. So if and when you guys take the trade, it'll actually be 145 or lower if you add 5 points. It should be a higher probability to clear for the buy than for the sell because we have more confirmations. So let's just wait for that 145 or lower. And also make sure you have enough time in the trade. If this is under 45 seconds, do not get into the trade. So you don't count the wick movement of the candle or that falls under the lower or higher. I mean, yeah, you do. That's why you have to go back and forth between your scanner because it may move. Like this is why if you're just starting out to trade, you don't want to be trading on a 1 minute time frame because, or you don't want to be obsessed about trading on a 1 minute time frame because you just need more time to do your analysis. So if you need more time, just take more time. I'm always say it's like if somebody just walked up to you and said, "What do you want to eat right now?" You will be like, "I don't know." But if they said, "I'm gonna give you 5 minutes, I'm gonna come back. I'm gonna come back and I'll ask you what you want to eat later." So we're still waiting for. We're gonna go with the buy. Let's see if we have another entry point higher than 145. Yep, we have another buy entry point as you guys can see at 160. Right, these lines are already here. All we did was put lines, and now we're just waiting for the market to either buy or sell, and we're looking for our confirmations, right? So we're going with 160 or lower for a buy, 185 or higher for a sell. All right, so we have the sell confirmations, more sellers in control, not enough time. So we're going to wait for a 185 or 160, whichever. Let me know if and when you get in. Now we're just going to wait. I'm waiting for that 185 because I have everything that I need at this point to get in, except for my entry point. I have everything I need to get in except for my entry point. So right now it's at 175, 177. This should be a really good sell, actually. This should be a really good sell. Let's see if we have another entry point that's not 185. Nope. Nope. That's the only entry we have for the sell. Unless you're gonna wait for it to push up higher. So let's see. 160 or lower buy, 150, 185 or higher sell. All right, so let me know if you guys are going to get into this trade. I think I'm going to go for it because it's 160 or lower. Entry point 155. I got in at 141. Let me look at the current candle though. Oh, it's still red, so I should have probably focused on sell, but that's okay. I was waiting for the, as we can see, the candle moved to our new entry, which is 138, so 145. It should push up though. I'm not really concerned. I think it's still going to push up as it did. Before I even looked at it, it's like you just kind of know. And look at this, family. We are, well, I am 27 points in profit because I simply slowed down and I used my HFX trading checklist, right? All I did is just slow down. I looked at 6 letters, a number. I put 4 lines on my chart and I'm about to make $9 in 1 minute, right? So once you guys clear this trade, because everybody should clear this trade, everybody should clear on this trade, just drop cleared in the chat. Once you clear this trade, because it's looking like a really nice clear for everybody. Okay, awesome, awesome, awesome. Any entry point that you actually took on that trade, you should have made money. No, it's not too bad it's in your demo. That's fantastic because you're learning. Because if it was an L, you would have been tight. All right, cleared. I'm seeing everybody cleared. Everybody cleared. So yeah, family, this is, I really wanted to make this the most easiest, straightforward training I could possibly even fathom to think of. Like, I just feel like trading, what is so new, like if you're looking at something that's new, it's just like speaking a new language. Everything's going to be overwhelming and intimidating. But when you strip away all that nonsense and you only literally pay attention to what's relevant, it just opens your eyes as to how simple this really is. We really just need to put into perspective that these are red rectangles, right? Blue rectangles and lines, right? Lines and shapes, right? 4th grade knowledge is going to make you rich, right? 4th grade knowledge is going to make you rich, right? It's going to make you rich. So pretty much if you guys learned something and this was eye-opening and you know that this is going to, oh yeah, that was just my question, Tasmane. If you know that this is going to help you, I just want you guys to go back into the chat, right? You can go into any chats, your SBC chat, your family chat, and just drop, I get it, right? I get it. And yep, Malika, this strategy is actually perfect for consolidation and trending markets because it's literally setting up the entry points and support and resistance for you, right? So everybody just go back to all your chats, just drop, I get it, 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 right? Just tell everybody that you get it, and they're going to be so confused, right? And if a lot of you are in the same group chat, they really going to be confused, but tell them, I get it, right? So I am, if you are in the Money Mantra channel, I am going to post this video in the chat as soon as it comes to my email. It'll have a little description. It'll have a little description about what the video was about, and then you can rewatch it as many times as you love, right? So I'm happy that it was helpful. Erica, I'm not going to repeat the checklist, but I will tell you that it's posted in the Money Mantra channel because it's the video from yesterday. So it's literally a checklist of questions that you want to ask yourself. It is a lot. That's why I'm not going to repeat it. It's just a lot of questions, but it's there. So, all right, everybody, enjoy the rest of your day. Hope you guys make a lot of money. I hope you tell somebody how easy this is and go your family that you get it.